of you in person, but it is what it is, and we fight these challenges and always win. I'm glad to see there's so many. I see 91 of you in here. Usually, usually I only do this beginning of the year meeting for 7th graders who are new to Hopewell, but given the circumstances, I thought it would be helpful to meet with you all as well. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to go through pretty much what's going on virtually, how the classes are going to be broken down in time, those types of things. But then I am also going to share with you after the meeting a slide deck that I use for the 6th grade parent meeting. It's probably the same slide deck that you all saw last year when you came to the cafeteria. But the reason why I want to share it with you again is because there is some videos linked in there for our 3 goals this year. So I want you to be able to have access to those so that you know what we're doing here and what our goal is for the year and what we're working with the kids and the staff members with on growing together. So I'll do a brief introduction of myself just in case we do have some new parents in here. My name is Linda Geringer and I am the principal, the proud principal of Hopewell Middle School. I've been in education for 25 years. All of that time has been in middle school. I just found what I loved and I never left. I love the age group of these kids. I love helping them, guiding them, mentoring them, you know, just interacting with them at such an important time in their lives, both in their academic growth, but also in their social growth and awareness and all of that. And I just love middle school, so I haven't left. So with that 25 years, part of my time, the first part of my career was spent in California, where I taught 8th grade language arts and history. And then when I came to Texas in 2005, I started teaching 8th grade language arts at Canyon Vista Middle School, and I was there for quite some time, I think about 7 years. And then after my time at Canyon Vista, I became an assistant principal at Cedar Valley Middle School. And I am now starting my 5th year here at Hopewell Middle School. And I'm excited, really excited to continue on in this community. What else? I have 3 adult children. They're all in their 20s, hard to believe. And the youngest one is just, my kids all went in different directions. So only one of them opted to go to a 4-year university, and that's my youngest. And he is finishing up at UT this year. Hopefully he'll be done this first semester, but we'll see. He's on a 5-year plan, but that's okay, because it'll all be worth it when he's done. So right now we're empty nesters. My husband and I have a teeny tiny little teacup, long-haired Chihuahua named Baxter, and that is my fur baby now. And I have over 1,300 kids here at Hopewell Middle School as well. So that is me. Now I want to get on to what you're most interested in hearing about, which is kind of what's happening in this new virtual environment we find ourselves in for instruction. Start with our theme for the year. Our vision really is reaching the hearts and minds of every child, and that is our philosophy here at Hopewell. Since I've been here, we've really focused on building relationships with students, because we know and research shows that students aren't going to learn if they do not feel that they are loved, if they feel any fear of any kind, and if stress levels are high. And so what we strive for here is to create classroom environments that are welcoming, where every child has a voice, where teachers build relationships with the students in their classes, and that students as a whole build a community within that classroom, so that students always feel safe and they feel supported, and they know that if they're having issues, that they have somebody that they can report those issues to so that we can resolve them. So that's our vision, is reaching the hearts and minds of every child. So we use capturing kids' hearts strategies here and restorative practices. We're one of 2 middle schools in the district to be a capturing kids' hearts middle school, because after 25 years in middle school, I know that those relationships are just as important in middle school, if not more so, than they are at the elementary level. We use restorative practices primarily when we're dealing with behavioral incidents where students might have made poor decisions or teachers made poor decisions. But regardless of what happened, the relationship has been hurt in a negative way, affected in a bad way. And so we want to make sure that we can restore that relationship. And so it's very common for an assistant principal or a counselor to have a meeting with a teacher and a student so that they can restore that relationship. They talk about what happened, how they felt about it, take responsibility for their part in it, and then move forward and be able to finish out the year with an intact relationship still. So that's how we go about reaching that vision. Once they feel that they're heard, that they're safe, that all is good, then their brain just opens up to accept learning. And so we know that that environment is crucial for student learning. And that's what we strive to create for all of our students. Our theme for this year, each year we have a theme. Last year it was superheroes. This year it is defining the possibilities. And the reason why I chose that is because when this all happened and started, what we kept hearing was, this is going to be impossible. How are we going to do this? You know, we're not meant for this. We haven't been trained for this. Impossible, impossible. And so I was reading a book at the time that talked about looking at obstacles as possibilities for new, better, great things. And that's how I came up with that theme of defining possibilities. And so that is what we want to do. We want to push the boundaries here on possibilities, because I firmly believe that while this situation is not ideal, we know that it's best for students right now to be in the classrooms. We know that our teachers miss our students. We know all of that. We know what a good environment is. But this situation has given us an opportunity to really learn. And teachers have had to get out of their comfort zone to learn technology in a way that they never anticipated having to learn it. But it's going to open up opportunities. And as I go through the rest of this information, I think I'm going to try to weave those in so that you can see where those possibilities for greatness lie. So in our efforts to create that perfect environment that I was just talking about, we're focusing on 3 things this year. And those are growth mindset, giving and receiving feedback, and equity. In the slide deck that I share with you after the meeting, I've linked a short video about each of those 3 things so that you can get a general idea of what we're going to be doing here throughout the year. But in a nutshell, growth mindset states that if you live a growth mindset, then you believe that anything can be learned with the practice, with the effort, with the right environment, and with support. And so what we say a lot around Hopewell is the word yet, because when kids are saying, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it, the teachers often will respond, you don't get it yet. Because we know that with perseverance and with good quality feedback, that student is going to get it eventually. And so you'll hear that word yet. The opposite of growth mindset is a fixed mindset. And a fixed mindset person believes that you are born with different qualities, gifts. you may be born with an intelligence for math or science, those types of things. And a fixed mindset person believes you either have it or you don't. So personal story, I definitely, growing up and even into my adulthood, I had a fixed mindset around math because math was always difficult for me. It didn't help that my brother had a gift in math and science and actually ended up going to Cal State Berkeley on a math and science scholarship and majored in geo and astrophysics. So of course, when he tried to help me with my math homework, there was a disconnect because I was struggling with basic math and geometry. And for him, he couldn't explain it in a way that I understood it. And so having that experience, I really believed that I just couldn't do math. But I've learned as I've gotten older that I can do it. It just takes me a little bit extra work, a little bit extra time, reaching out for support and for help. And so that is what we're really going to be trying to teach both our students and our staff members, because I really wanted to choose goals for this year that students and staff members could work on at the same time. So we're going to be working all year on building that growth mindset and that philosophy within ourselves to know that we can learn anything if we put in the effort, the time, we ask for help, we break things down, all of that. So that's growth mindset. Feedback and the importance of feedback for growth. I think that we are programmed to oftentimes to hear feedback as a criticism, but feedback is a gift. And as adults, we start to see that, but still, depending on how the feedback is given, it could be taken the wrong way. So I have a great example of this, an assistant principal that I worked with years ago. Smart woman, confident woman, but she always used the word irregardless. As an English teacher, I know that irregardless is not a word. The word is regardless. And I struggled and struggled and struggled with, because I was a new assistant principal, like, you know, I shouldn't do that. That's not, she's the mentor, you know. But my principal at the time was Matt Groff, who's now over at Round Rock High School. And we had a discussion about the importance of feedback. And without giving her that feedback, I was kind of setting her up for failure, because when she talked in front of big groups, she was using this word, and that opened the possibility for people to think less of her. And so that experience in my life really showed me the importance of feedback. And so I did eventually end up having that conversation with her and presenting it in a way that I care about you, and I want you to show people the confident, intelligent person that you are, and I need to tell you that irregardless is not a word. And then, you know, we had that conversation, and she was grateful for the feedback ultimately. And so we're going to work on feedback, both the staff members and the students, because you can't improve without feedback. But there's this way to give feedback and a way to not give feedback. And so we're working on that as a staff right now. And then we'll start working with the kids to start giving feedback to each other. And first we'll start with positive feedback, and then we'll go to more constructive feedback. And then the final thing that we're going to be working on as a campus, and we really started this work last year, but we're being much more intentional about it this year, is equity. And equity is really just making sure that every child has the same opportunities, has equal access to opportunities, to resources, to having a voice at the table, to being heard. And that's how we're going to focus on equity. So I encourage you to take a look at the slide deck I'm going to share with you and watch those videos. They're all pretty short, so it shouldn't take too much of your time. All right, on to the online platform, Schoology. We just found out yesterday afternoon that the district has made the decision to purchase the entire suite of Schoology, which is going to make things much easier for us, because what was happening, well, the biggest issue we had with Schoology was that you couldn't do a hangout, a meet like this with more than 25 people in the group. And, you know, that's not going to work. While we have some classes that are very small, we have other classes that are not so small, that are like 27, 28. So teachers were going to have to bounce back and forth between Google Meet and Schoology to meet with their kids. The other thing that is a great resource in Schoology that we will have access to is doing breakout groups. So small group work with students. Teachers can put them in groups, can check in on them, and students will be able to interact in the virtual world with their learning. And so we're super excited about that. And I know that you got an email this morning about creating your own Schoology account, and I encourage you to do that because you'll be able to go in and see pretty much what the students see and also have access to their grades and that sort of thing. However, I'm working on trying to get those codes because when the teachers went in and tried to share them with you this morning, but they got a message that those codes will not be available until the class goes live. And so that would be Thursday. So I'm working with, I've reached out to a few people at the district office to see if there's a workaround that we can get you those codes sooner. But if I can't, then you will have them on Thursday. And the most beneficial thing for you to see in there, there won't be a huge difference between having that code today or having that code on Thursday. But for sure you'll have it Thursday. I'm going to try to get it earlier for you. Got the school, okay. Please understand that some of our staff members are very comfortable with Schoology. They started in the summer looking through the website, and we have some real masters, to be quite honest with you. And those masters have been teaching the rest of the staff how to interact with Schoology. The district also had some training sessions, but I mean, as you can imagine, for some of us who are a little more mature in our age, it's a little bit intimidating having to learn a whole new learning platform in 2 weeks because the teachers came back on contract August 10th. So they've been working hard to make sure that they're ready for Thursday for your students, and they are ready. But what you're going to see is that some sites are going to have lots of different stuff on them, and some sites are going to have the bare bones for now. They'll still have everything they need for your child to be successful, but they may not have the bells and whistles that some of the other teachers have right now, which is okay because we always spend the first few, I mean, it can really even be the first whole week of school that they're working on building relationships, building community. So most of the time is going to be spent in a virtual classroom like this, like what we're doing now, but all the students are interacting and organized chaos. But the goal for the first few weeks is really just to make sure that the students feel comfortable in Schoology. The teachers will do some tutorials about how to get where, and then also to start building that community in all the classes, because every class it's a different set of kids, as you know. Our advisory time is going to be used, an advisory this year is like a regular class period. So it's a full 90 minutes long. And that class will be used for our second step lessons, for like icebreaker activities, community building activities, and then it'll also be used for time for the kids to work independently on assignments that they have, or to check in with teachers. Teachers will have office hours during that time so that students can just pop in and ask clarifying questions or, you know, anything that they need any direction or clarification on. They'll be able to do that during that time as well. But in every class, they'll work on building the community within that group of kids. And that does usually take a while. Of course, now we don't have to teach classroom procedures and things like that because we're not in the classroom, but we want to make sure that they understand the Schoology classroom and that they feel comfortable interacting in that environment and in that space. So they do have office hours, but I would also encourage you to, encourage your children to email their teachers, because they will respond to emails as well. I've gotten a lot of emails from kids over the summer and in these past few weeks as they're not sure about what's happening, and I'm happy to answer those. So, you know, the kids they're learning really formal social media through this experience. That's another silver lining that's coming out of it. And as they interact with their teachers, I'm encouraging, the district is encouraging, we are too, that teachers come up with new and different ways to assess students, which will allow students to present the information in a way that works for them to show their best learning. And I think that as we work to build our feedback muscles, so to speak, rather than getting a note on an assignment of good job or focus on this or something, the teacher and the student will be able to interact like this when they talk about the assignment and really give specifics as to where your child can improve the work that they're doing and continue along with that growth mindset philosophy. So that's another silver lining. So there are definitely silver linings in this situation. And once we get going and we get more comfortable with it, I think we'll all, you know, have a sense of calm. Right now, that calm is not quite there, but it'll get there. I have no doubt in that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the virtual setting. On Thursday, we are going to begin with building the community, building the relationships, but we're also going to, in each period that they go into on Thursday and Friday, each student will get a little snippet of what's important to know in this virtual setting. So each department is going to take like one piece of it and explain. So for example, that might be presenting or sharing. The teacher might share their Schoology screen and show students where to go for different things. Another teacher might go over virtual norms in a meeting, you know, staying mute during these times. Here's how you raise your hand. Here's how you chat, ask a question. So we want to make sure that the kids feel comfortable utilizing the resources and they understand the norms of virtual learning, because it's similar but a little different than being in the classroom. If any of you have been in virtual meetings, then you understand that there are some things that we have to learn to be successful. The classes are 90 minutes long, and they are broken up into for the most part, three different pieces. So the first 30 minutes is always going to be the direct instruction, which can look like, well, hopefully not too much just teacher talking lecture, but more of teaching the skill, but also interacting with the students, calling on the students to answer questions, that kind of thing. This is presenting the new material. The next 30 minutes then could be, this is the time when students might work independently on something. And then the final 30 minutes could be a time where you can ask questions, or students might gather what they learned in a small group, talk about what they learned, and then present out to the group. So, and that could go either way. First 30 minutes is going to be direct instruction, and then depending on the teacher's lesson plans for that day, or maybe they'll keep the same plan all the way through, there will be a 30-minute period of independent work for the student to get any practicing or assignments done, and then another 30 minutes for sharing out with the class, doing extended learning, anything like that. So that's what that next, and every class will be structured similarly to that. The only class that will be an exception is going to be the advisory class, because that class is, that's a totally different, it's a non-academic class. So I would imagine that most days will look like you'll have a second step lesson, you'll have a time to build community, whether that's an icebreaker lesson or something else, and then you'll have time to check in with teachers. Teachers will have office hours during that time, so students can pop in to ask questions and that kind of thing for advisory. So that's how the classes will be set up. Now, the benefit of that is that every teacher will record one class presentation, that first 30 minutes where they're delivering new instruction. Only one, because if you're an 8th grade English teacher, you teach that lesson 5 times throughout a day, or in the block scheduling, it'll be a little bit less. But the reason why we're asking them to do that is because we understand that while it's important for your child to be there during the class period, to hear the lesson, to understand it clearly, to ask questions, but also to interact with their friends and get that social emotional piece that we need. There are times when they may not be able to make a class. So rather than have them be counted absent for that class, what they'll be able to do is watch the video that the teacher has posted for that day, complete the assignment, and if they've turned the assignment in by 11:59 that night, they will not be counted absent for that class. Now, these assignments are going to be very small. They're not going to be long projects. One activity that teachers do is your ticket out the door. And basically, it's 2 or 3 questions about what was taught that period. And it's a way for the teacher to assess the students' learning, to make sure that they understood what was taught. That they understood what was taught. So, excuse me, lost my train of thought. Yes, so these are short assignments that they can complete on their own. Attendance is taken 2 ways. Attendance can be taken by the teacher in the classroom in that virtual setting, and they can see the students there and here. The other way that attendance can be taken is that way that I just explained. So they may not see the student in the classroom because the student can't make it that day. But the next morning they see, oh, this student wasn't there, but they turned in this assignment before 11:59, so they were present. And the state of Texas has told us that that is acceptable to give credit for considered being present in school that day. So 2 ways that students can get counted present for a class period. Excuse me. All right. So the last thing that I have is for those of you who have children who will be joining us on the campus on September 10th, I will have another Zoom, a webcast, talking specifically about what that will look like and what students need to bring. How lunch is going to go, how breakfast is going to go, where they're going to be throughout the day, that kind of stuff. So another invitation will go out, but know that you need to join that meeting if your child is coming back for the in-person part of learning starting September 10th, unless that changes. But as of now, it is September 10th. One more thing I just thought of though that I wanted to address is, nope, I don't need to because that's for in-person learning too. So, all right, I'm gonna ask Ms. Sanchez if we have any questions that need to be answered. She's been doing a pretty good job of answering them on her own. Let me see if there's any in my, okay. Okay, so on the first day, where do we log in? Now the district sent out directions for that. Should have gone to your email, but it was kind of, it's there. You should have that as long as you're receiving my buzzes and the invitation for this webinar, then you should be able to, you should have gotten that email from the district. And it has all kinds of directions for where to log in. My understanding is that, here, let me just pull that up real quick because I was looking at it just a minute ago. That was from, okay. All right, so this information was sent to all secondary, it was sent to all parents, but it was also sent to secondary students. So it should be in your student's email as well. And so what it says is that each school day you will log into ClassLink, which is a single sign-on system that provides direct access to Schoology. And then there's a link on this email that shows you exactly how to do that. So the only thing you have to log into is ClassLink. That's it. Once you get into ClassLink, you'll have all these different icons of Schoology, of Gmail, of Google Drive. Anything that your student will need, it will be in that ClassLink site. So please look for that email. I'm not even sure what it was titled because the administrators got a different one, but it would be something about logging in to Schoology or first day procedures or something like that. So try this one. It might be titled Important Information to Access Your Virtual Learning Dashboard. That might be the one that went out, and it shows that it was scheduled to go out at 8 a.m. this morning. So please look for that email, and that should give you step-by-step directions of how to log in to everything that you need. All right, got any more questions, Ms. Sanchez? Oh, there's a lot. She's trying to keep up. That's a good question. So we have a calendar for A and B days, but there was a mistake on it. So as soon as we get that mistake fixed today, then we'll send it out. For the most part, okay, so Monday, Wednesday will be A days, Tuesday, Thursday will be B days, and Fridays will rotate and change. But you need the calendar. The calendar is going to make it easy for you. So if we're starting on a Thursday, which we are, that would actually be a B day, which is kind of confusing. But I'll send that calendar to you as soon as we get that one. I think there was a mistake on like November 20th date or something, but as soon as we get that done, we'll send that out to you. Let me see. Please advise kiddos need to do day one. Okay, so I think I got that one. Day one, you need to be able to log into that ClassLink, was it called, I think? And then that will give you access to everything else. So you just have one login and that's it. Access to schedules, I sent out, they should be available in Hack right now, but if you're anything like me, you don't remember that password or login information or anything. So I sent out an email this morning that had like steps to access Hack if you've forgotten your password, and then a form you can fill out if you just need help, and then someone will get back to you. So look for that email from me, and that will help you figure out Hack, and schedules are posted in Hack. There's a form in, so if you can't access Hack, look for my email that I sent out this morning about schedules, and there's a few different links you can click on that will be specific to your situation, whether you forgot your password or whether you've never logged on to Hack before. And I think there's one more option. So just click on that link that applies to you, and we'll get you squared away. We have someone who's manning that line, and so to speak, and she will be able to help you. We don't know. So the question is, will A schedule be the entire school year? So really we're kind of at the mercy of the state, and what they tell us is is safe to do. For virtual learning, it was determined that this model would be best. So I would say at least for the first semester. I'm not sure of the second semester yet, but the way things are going, I think it's pretty safe to say it would be all year, only because we have to wait until a vaccine is created, and then everyone has to get the vaccination and all of that. So my guess would be that it will probably be the entire year. Okay, so the question was about electives. If we're not doing in person for come September 10th, do we just take them to school for things like dance and athletics? I can tell you that dance, as of now, our dance teacher is working on virtual lessons. So your student will just log into that class as they would any other core class. Athletics is a little different, and the best thing to do for that, to get the most up-to-date information, is to go to our athletics website, and you can get there by going to our homepage, and then if you can do probably the easiest way is the A to Z sort thing, and then just click on athletics. Coach Saunders has a pretty informative site set up over there, and you can always email Coach Saunders directly, or Coach Gabbert is our head football coach. So if you're talking football, he would be the one to reach out to. Will student schedules stay the same when they return to campus? Yes, they should. Now, I will preface that by saying that students always have the first 2 weeks to put in a schedule change request, and they can still do that through the counselors. I'm sure that the counselors have a form that they can fill out and turn in, but you can just email their grade level counselor and ask for a direction on that, because I'm not totally sure. But you know what, before, when school starts, then I'll put out something about that, because that's an important thing that you and the students need to know, because there's a deadline on that. So I want to make sure that you have that date. But other than that, yes, their schedule stays the same when they return to campus. Yes, so A days are periods 1 through 4, B days are periods 5 through 8, correct. Shot records, oh, I'm glad someone asked about that. Yes, so the state is not giving us any leeway on 7th grade immunizations. So those immunizations that I'm sure Nurse Mina has been emailing you about, those have to be turned in before students can attend school in person. So for sure, if you are a parent who's planning on your children coming for learning in the building on September 10th, then make sure that you have their immunizations done, and you can bring, or you can email a copy of that to the nurse. I'm waiting for Ms. Sanchez to give me more questions. Sorry, can you repeat that one? Okay, so our school start time is the same as it's always been. Classes will start at 8:20 and classes end at 3:35. Now, having said that, remember that there'll be, you've got lunch in between there, and there's going to be times in the classes where students are working independently on things. And if there's, for some reason, you have to miss a class, the students will be able to watch the video and turn in the assignment, so that they're present for that class. There was something I was just thinking, during the first 3 weeks of virtual learning, everyone is going to follow the 6th grade schedule, just so that everyone goes to lunch at the same time, because I think that just, that makes it easier while we're virtual. But then when we have people who are coming in for the September 10th, and we have students here, then that might have to change. We're just trying to make it so virtually we have one lunchtime so that it's not just to make it easy for everybody. So the question is, can they attend school virtually if they don't have their shots? I have heard that they will not be able to access the Round Rock site if they do not have their shot records. But I just saw Nurse Mina walk by. So I'm gonna ask her if you give me just like 30 seconds. She walked away, but she's going to come and she's going to address that question, because that's an important question for 7th graders, because that's always, we always have some students who come and they don't have them, and then they have to be picked up or they have to wait in a different area. So I want to make sure that you guys have the correct information so that there's no surprises. So as soon as she comes up, we'll ask her. Let me look and see if I can see any other questions that may not have been answered yet. District. Okay, the question is, are we following the sample schedule that was provided at the district meetings? So we are, for the most part, following that sample schedule, but we have our own as well that I will get put on the website, and I'll send to you in that same email that I send the slide deck. So right after this meeting, I'll send you our schedule and I'll send you the slide deck. Ms. Mina, the question was asked in our this is the 7th grade parent meeting, so immunizations is a big question. And they were asking, can they attend virtually if they don't have their immunizations?
Okay, so the state said no. But the Round Rock ISD decided to give a grace period until September 10th.
Okay.
Whether students attend virtually or in person, vaccines have to be in by September 10th.
Okay. So the state didn't give a grace period, but Round Rock ISD did. The grace period is these first 3 weeks. So by September 10th, Nurse Mina has to have received the immunization records for the 7th graders in order for them to access virtually or in person. So make sure that you get those done by September 10th, and then you can fax them to the school, or you can email them to the school. Let me see if I can put, okay. Let me see what our fax number is. You can tell how often I use my fax machine.
So they can even take a snapshot, not snapshot.
Yeah.
Screenshot.
Let's take a screenshot. And email to Mina, S-H-I-M-O-M-U-R-A.
The answer is yes. I don't know how
they want to know which shots.
I can definitely look up if they email me or
call
me.
Okay. So because it's individual for every kid, what she is asking is that you can email her and she can look it up for your child and tell you specifically what they need, or you can call. So I just put her email in the chat. So feel free to reach out to her to get those questions answered for your child. Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right. Yes, so lunch is at 11:40 for all students, and it's a 30-minute lunch. Immunization records can be, you can take a screenshot and you can email that to Mina Shimomura, and I put her email address in the, oh, they can't see the chat, can they? So that doesn't help. I will add that to my email that I'm sending you. So I'm sending you the slide deck, Nina's email, and the bell schedule. Okay, I'll include that all in there. Anything else that you need that I could include in that email to you? I've got the slide deck with those videos. I've got the nurse's email address and the different ways that you can submit your immunization records. And I've got the bell schedule that we're using. And then as soon as that calendar with the 8 AB days is updated, I will share that with all the parents. Just really the most important thing for you to know is that Thursday when we start is going to be a B day. So they'll be going to the second half of their schedule, periods 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, this is another athletics question. And again, the best thing to do is to go to our athletics webpage, which is, you can get there through our Hopewell website. Coach Saunders gets the updates even faster than I do from UIL. So he knows the up to the minute decisions that have been made. Okay, so we're closing out on our time. I got 1 minute left. I'm glad I was able to schedule this time with you and hopefully answer some of your questions. You know, I'm always available. Email is best for me because given the situation we're in, I oftentimes don't, I'm not able to answer the phone. Sometimes I answer email late, but I do answer it. So please shoot me an email if you have any additional questions. And hopefully we'll be back in person sometime soon. All right, thank you guys. And you know, rest assured it's gonna be a different year, but it's gonna be a great year and we are going to define the possibilities. Have a great afternoon.